In this module, we will focus on how to give feedback. We'll cover what is feedback, when does feedback work, and introduce you to two tools, how to use B.O.O.S.T and D.E.S.O, and be aware of the emotional effect of receiving feedback. That's what feedback is. Information about performance or behavior that leads to action to affirm or develop that performance or behavior. Very simple description of what feedback is. Two types of feedback: affirmative, praise, identifying the positives, picking up on strengths, and developmental, picking up on areas for improvement, weaknesses. Two types of feedback. When you are giving feedback, affirmative feedback, you'd be saying what I liked because what you did and the effect was. Developmental feedback, I would have liked it because the effect would have been. And there's a way of giving negative feedback in a positive way. Just think of that example, somebody who works for you. Your slides were interesting, good graphics, very clear message, but I found your presentation quite boring as a result of your delivery. You delivered it in a dull, monotonous way, and you could see people in the group nodding off and going to sleep. Now that's a very destructive way of giving feedback. The thing with feedback is the moment you say but, people forget the good appreciative things that you've said. There's some very good things that were said there. Now here's an alternative way of doing it in a positive way. Bearing in mind, giving feedback is about helping that other person. That's helping to develop, helping them to improve their performance, and it's the gift. It's a gift to something that's going to be of benefit to them. So your slides were very interesting, good graphics, very clear key messages. This is a real strength that will support the improvements you need to make on your delivery. Spend a bit of time before presentation thinking about specific needs of your audience. In this way, you will be able to highlight the key messages that apply to them. Get them engaged early. Stay connected, look at their faces, use tonality to emphasize. You do this well on your slides. Now do it with your voice. So you can see the completely different way of giving advice, really good advice that will help them to move on to the next stage. So at the end of a feedback session like that, they'll feel I'm doing some things right, and now I can move on to the next stage of my development. But feedback is about giving people a boost, and I talked about the gift of feedback. So think of the words boost. Balanced. Always include both good and constructive points. Objective. Feedback should be factual and not an attack on somebody's personality. It should be focused on actions, not your feelings about that person. Observed. Only give examples of what you have seen the person say or do, not hearsay, not based on what somebody else has said. Specific. Always use specific examples. Timely. Feedback should be given as close to the event as possible. This will ensure accuracy. It'll be a way of actually giving people a chance to take on board something that will help them to improve their behavioral performance. So that's B.O.O.S.T. Use D.E.S.O for quality feedback. It's a way of actually making the feedback meaningful to the other person. The D of D.E.S.O is to describe. Describe the situation, what is happening, be objective, well-intended, and rely on evidence. E, effect. What effect does this have either on you personally or on the job? S, specify. Specify what you would like him or her to do differently. Outcome, explain the outcome and the benefits. So you can see there's, sometimes when people give feedback, it's vague. It doesn't really help people. So D.E.S.O gives you that structure. Let's give you an example of the use of. Right, here is an example of D.E.S.O, starting with describe. I would like to discuss an issue relating to our communications. During the past week, I cannot seem to be able to reach you on the phone. I understand that while you're with a client, you're not able to interrupt and answer the phone. Like yesterday, when I urgently needed some information regarding the report I was preparing, and I wasn't able to reach you. Didn't cover off the effect. This resulted in me not being able to complete the report on time. How does that sound to you? Then move on to specify. I'm glad you can see my point of view. Therefore, from now on, I would like to ask you to make sure that you answer your phone or that you communicate with the office as soon as possible. Finally, the outcome. This way, we will be able to avoid issues that need immediate solutions. So quite reasonable, but absolutely no doubt in the mind of the person receiving the feedback of what is required. Just to run through these items in a little bit more detail. The D is describe the situation, what happened exactly, be as specific as possible, what happened or what was said. The report you gave is incomplete. There are 3 points missing. During the last month, you have been late 4 times. Witnessed personally during our morning meetings, I noticed that you were absent-minded. So very, very clear. Moving on to specify what you would like to happen. I would like to take over the project and I would like to be on time in the morning. What you would like somebody to do, I would like it when you disagree with me that you come and discuss it with me directly. So very, very clear as to what the specific requirements are. And then outcome. What will be the outcome if this person does or does not do what you are proposing? On the feeling side, this will make me feel better, or I will feel less stressed. Reward, this will allow you to earn more vacation days. By doing this, you will earn your bonus. Positive effect, you'll be able to complete your work earlier and leave on time. Negative effect, I will have to report you. You will have to stay late to complete the project. So that's the. Okay, in all of this feedback, particularly as an EI leader, sort of be aware of the emotional effect of receiving feedback. Quite often when people receive feedback, they go through a situation of shock. I can't believe that there is such a gap between my views and the views of my coachees. The people that I'm working with, I just can't believe there's, anger. The moment you start to sort of think about it, then you sort of start to get angry. And some people are a complete waste of space. I don't know why I bothered asking them. I'm a busy person. What do they expect from me? And this quite often comes out when people receive their 360, particularly if they haven't received a 360 ever or haven't for a long time. And they start to go through this anger. And the downside of anger is they actually miss the good parts that are in the feedback. They miss the sort of positive, affirmative feedback. So the next stage, and this is part of you managing the feedback, is that they tend to go through resistance. They get the feedback and they say, the comment doesn't represent me. I can see that it is based on one incident. I'm going to track them down and find out what they really meant. I'm going to go find the people that gave me this feedback. And they're resisting, rejecting, they're sort of pushing back on the feedback. And then you move on to acceptance. And acceptance is, having thought about it, I can see that they do have a point. It's for my own benefit. I need to thank them rather than curse them. And that is Sarah. Shock, anger, resistance, acceptance. And Sometimes it happens in a very visible way, but sometimes it's quite subtle. So just bear in mind that, because sometimes when people are in anger and resistance, they're not taking on board the feedback. So you need to work at it and make sure that they really do get to the point of sort of owning what that feedback is. So that's Sarah. But just to summarize, feedback is an amazing tool that is generally not used effectively. Always remember you are giving people a gift to help them perform better and succeed. So you've got their goodwill in your mind. It's not about being destructive and undermining people. You want them to succeed. B.O.O.S.T is your reminder to get the structure right, and D.E.S.O will help you to craft high-quality feedback. Use your EI senses to understand emotions and Sarah to guide you. And that's the end of this module.